Hi, you guys.
Senator?
Matt Clark's shoes are big to fill, so I feel sad about standing up here, but I'm also really happy to welcome you to the Writer's Voice Cafe. And I'm Nan Sonater. I'm the lead librarian. And we're really, as always, excited and honored to have the Writer's Voice here tonight. And without further ado, but it is a do.
Let me take this program.
But there is a do, so never mind. I'm really excited about the community of readers and writers that we have here in Provincetown, and the Writer's Voice is a really good example of it. And my most exciting program that's coming up right now is the Provincetown Book Festival. This is the second annual, in case you missed the first. We did it in 2016, and we're doing it again on September 15th and 16th, which is Friday and Saturday. It's 2 whole days. Friday night is a reception for Sebastian Younger, who's getting the Rose Dorothea Award from the Board of Trustees, the Library Board of Trustees. Saturday night, the festival will close with National Book Award winner Julia Glass and Pulitzer Prize winner Richard Russo in conversation. Most of the programs will be writers in conversation with each other, so they will be unique, and judging from last year, wonderful. We're also, Diane is hosting a special Writer's Voice Cafe edition during the book festival with Ann Hood, who is a fiction writer and memoirist, and Michael Ruhlman, who is chiefly a food writer, and they're married. So it will be those two together talking about the writing life and the married life.
They read and eat together.
They read and eat. They read and eat. You got it. So anyway, now I'm going to turn over the mic to the wonderful Diane Hamilton.
Woo! And the wonderful Nan, thank you. Oh, man, thank you. Well, we keep on keeping on here. Nan's Sonater. Now I think I haven't been saying that right.
You got it now.
Is that French or something?
It's Bohemian, if you can.
It's Bohemian, okay. I love it, Sonater, okay. And Brittany, the acting director for the library is Whitney Taylor. So she was very helpful, I think. What a great team. And of course, we miss Matt, but he's moved on, and I hope he's really doing well. I'm sure he is. So welcome to the Writer's Voice Cafe. I'm Diane Hamilton, and this is going on our 10th year. We were initially the Writer's Voice Cafe. We started you'll see our history in the program. Please read your programs because there's a lot about Julia. And on the back, there's our history, our mission, what's going to happen in September, our second World Storytelling Day. We have one annual event we had last year. We have the writing workshops. And if you make sure if you're on the mailing list, you'll get all this information, okay? So the World Storytelling Day, that's with everyone all over the world. And it's been going on for 25, 26 years, something like that. It started in Sweden, and it's just, I think there's 60 countries that now do it on March 20th. And we did it too. And we had a lot of wonderful people talk about growing up in Provincetown. So it was more like that, or being here, or coming here and staying type thing. So it was broken up into the whole day. And then we're going to have our first annual Provincetown Writers Festival. That's hopefully the first weekend in May 2019. So we are, there's one person here who would like to work with us, hopefully. And if anyone else is interested in working with the Writer's Voice, we need project managers. Bless you. And we need all kinds of people to staff the Writer's Voice. So I'm putting it out there. Cell phones off, please. Let's take a look at the programs because we started this about 2 years ago. So we first put on it And if you don't have a program, is there other, the first page is all about Julia Salinger, Olson, the poet, and the droning artist David Cox. That's September 13, and that's going to be a wonderful combination. And then the upcoming annual events, Second World Storytelling Day, and the first annual, that's in 2018, and the first annual Provincetown Writers Festival in 2019, which I hope you'll all partake of. And then our thanks to everyone. So, okay. And without further ado, Julia Salinger. Thank you very much. And you can adjust this.
Okay.
And I can even make it louder.
All right. So I want to thank Diane for inviting me as the writer for the Writer's Voice Cafe, as well as the P-Town Library. And thank you all so much for coming in one piece, because you just don't know what's going to happen at any moment right now. We're living on a slippery slope. Where have all the clowns gone? Germany, Kuala Lumpur, or that Japanese island with all the cats? Who knows? I heard enrollment at Clown College is off. Numbers dwindling. Maybe close to extinction. This guy at the bank said clowns are at a premium, like stocks or nurses. Soon they'll supersede pork belly, soy, and corn in the commodity circuit. I'd hate to think of them erased from the big top. This summer, I saw a pair of blue and lemon yellow clown shoes at the flea market, but they weren't my size. Safe Journey poem. Yes, I will text you when I'm past Providence, I promise. Or I might stop by the sign that says, "Do not stop, correctional facility close by," and text you. Or maybe I'll rest by the side of the road and shout up the truckers, or even the prison guys, sweeping away life's debris. They're always good for gossip. But instead, I'll drive into a closed-for-the-season, desolate area and pee near my car in case a serial killer is lurking in the woods. I can make a quick getaway just to tell you I'm past Providence, and the traffic is non-existent. But maybe I'll wait till I'm home, fall onto my pillow, turn off the BBC mystery, and call you.
No.
Ouch. My mom told me I was a forceps birth. She hated the idea of sterile, icy metal clamps singeing my silly putty flesh, my cozy fluidity interrupted. But I think she was mistaken. For the record, I believe I was a bad hair day birth. My black, slick, gooey tendrils pulled down the deadly nightshades. In my nest, they suckled onto the inner walls of my mother, coiled snakes slurping salty water, a wild sea tossing me about, entangled me in a web of nets by the shore. Like Berenice, I didn't sacrifice my hair to Aphrodite. I wasn't yet privy to the Greek myths. That would come later, when my locks found the key. I want to dedicate this reading to my writing mentor who lived in New York. His name is Larry Fagan. Actually, there was a really nice New Yorker piece written about him a couple of weeks ago. And he passed away at the end of May, and it's been very sad for me. But when I first started working with him, he would say, "How come there's so much food in your poems? Like, why are you always talking about food?" And I said, well, first of all, I love to cook, and I love to eat. And so he kept bugging me about it. It's like, you know, lose the food. So anyway, I wrote this for him. I'm going to the go-go. No, this ain't no disco, no dance hall, no Roseland of worn boards and ancient chinchillers. I'm on a Mandarin mission, a sacred trek to the grand butterball Buddha of dim sum. His naked, garnet red, caramelized pork belly, impaled with incense sticks, burns in the cold, velvet-encased entryway and invites me into the paradigm of all forms foreseen. Yes, I have journeyed to my smiling friend, my royal dragon of Mott Street, from Bayard to Doyers, Pell to all points, as I land on East Broadway, where Confucius basks in the golden rays, while pigeons happily shit on his head as he bends down to confess his own delight in these tiny bites of the soul. Ground into fat, slivers of scallions, gems of garlic and ginger, studded, steamed into a mini crown topped with a jewel of a pea. Newborn sweet rice wrappers punctuated with cilantro, scallions covered in dark syrupy soy. A mixture of buttery pork, smoky tree ears, and brown earthy madness, swaddled in a braised tofu skin. I'm in a euphoric, slurping heaven as my mouth luxuriates in this Chinese-Jewish dance of unctuous ecstasy.
Yes.
From my finger. When I awoke, there was a ring of silver in my bed, a miniature pyramid with Persian scrollwork on either side. It had fallen from my finger in the navigation of a dream. Do you think it was a sign? Yesterday I wrote you a poem about a silver ring you gave me years ago, with an abstract design, perhaps of the sea and sky. Did you visit me in the night? The mussels on this island are like the ones we used to pull from the rocks, a poem from the sea. And in the fog, we drank a symphony of broth, mussels, garlic, oil, wine, parsley, a blanket of cream. It was a day imprinted in my DNA, one that when you close your eyes is summoned immediately. I've had mussels many times since, and with every bite, I close my eyes. A Tale of the Tub. He said I was the sexiest mermaid in Wellfleet. I reminded him that I was probably the only one. But what does he know? He's only a plumber who floods me with one-liners as he comes to look at my bathtub drain. He sees a lot of drains. Today he's seeing mine because it's overflowing, and I've taken to baths now that the weather has turned. Maybe it's the splashing of my tail that's causing the leak, but I've outgrown this tub. It's old, small, and a weird golden color, probably from the 70s, when colors were made to look like fruit or vegetables. Avocado green. It was made for smaller people, sans tails. I'm pretty petite for a mermaid, but the tub is still not tail-friendly. Maybe I should upgrade, but I don't have the cash to throw out the porcelain baby with the bath. Certified. I am the fucking full of brush woman walking the streets, stepping around the vomit, hawking my wares door to door, floor to floor. You like this vacuum brush, lady? Follow me down the sidewalk. I make a small drawing of this trip, with wax and cracks and red rain, a bramble of lines to enter an abyss or stick to the surface, treasures of gouache to let you know who else I am in my raw appeal, to shout out the blues on this carousel of boozers, schmoozers, and the motley assortment of Walt Whitman samplers, amblers, enablers, bullshitters, and there's 50% off on toilet brushes and beds in Bellevue. A strawberry rhubarb riot of thorns and live wires from the gum-encrusted gutter, this letter to tell you what I'm selling, and all the ganja garble, a little red schoolhouse, paddles, and dunce caps included. Frontline, Dateline, World Report, late-breaking news lines. Tonight, tune into the most trusted investigative crime program and listen to our seasoned reporters as they go inside the cubby holes, in between nap time, chocolate chips, and milk, to unlock the key to the potty and uncover what's hiding in the Play-Doh all across our land. You will be astounded to learn what really goes on behind the juice boxes, blankies, and the dirty, eco-friendly diapers. It is something so preposterous it could only be true. Please say it's not so. Have you heard? They're spying on America's toddlers. Kids in kindergarten, no less. Is anything sacred? The government says they have a lot to learn from the under 5 set. The NSA has been compiling information on this entirely new demographic. analyzing their Crayola scribbles under pinpoint laser technology, while the FBI has learned of some major leaks on the carpeted floors of preschools. Don't worry, Snowden is on the case, along with Glenn Greenwald, who may finally have his say at next year's Oscar Awards. Even Laura Poitras is writing the screenplay as we speak. It's not just blocks, Legos, and popsicle stick people, said one highly revered investigative journalist. In these rooms lies a wealth of information on critical thinking, problem solving, strategic issues. Some still in infancy, others at drone level. Obama, Jimmy Fallon, Woody Allen, Mr. Bubbles, Mr. Potato Head, and Chef Boyardee all have their ears to the ground. On this one, even Martha Stewart is launching a new kindergarten living magazine, Dirt Bombs 101. All our eyes are on the mat of this next wave of data. Up until now, this has been a demographic sorely absent from policymaking. The 4-year-olds in recent years have shed new light on diplomacy etiquette. We can cull so much from potty training, said one high-ranking official who wished to remain anonymous. In fact, after 4 decades, knowledgeable sources reveal that Nixon's method of foreign policy is due in large part to spying on kindergartners, long before it was fashionable. Just think, it could have been Diapergate. After all happened at Foggy Bottom, and Gordon Liddy proved he wasn't so good at plugging leaks. Cat. Last night I rented a cat from one of those rent-a-cat places. You know, like they have in New York. They are now outnumbering Korean markets and Duane Reade's. Who was Duane Reade, anyway? You can rent up to 3 cats for a 24-hour period. Then you drop the cat off to any rent-a-cat chain, like a library book, but they don't get stamped. The cats are color-coded with snappy labels on each one that describe your impending guest, like wine or cheese. This rare orange tabby with a furry rind is found only in small Norwegian fishing villages. Cuddle up to Helga for the night or day. Our cats are guaranteed for 24 hours. After that, you're on your own. We urge you to take out a Rent-A-Cat's umbrella insurance policy, any against damages or loss to our animals, at only $199.99 a day. Summer, 1973. Monticello, New York, Route 17, and the Red Rooster. Farms, sheep, cows, pre-YouTube, pre-Walkman. It was all reel-to-reel then, with a rotary phone, the pretty clicks of its return to zero. The golden arches on Gun Hill Road, a Mayan temple sprouting from the earth. Maybe 10 burgers sold by that point. Before strip malls invaded depressed acreage, when kids were kids and good was plenty, and Tootsie Rolls tasted like love. I've been to the Army-Navy store on Broadway under the L, got my big black sleek trunk with brass studs, name tags in my t-shirts, and I'm ready to roll. I have 13 years of living under Orion's belt, and I'm going to sleepaway camp. Hello, bungalow colonies, Ellenville and the Homoac. Here I come to charter new territory and be a good doobie. But in that magic mirror, objects appear closer than my life-saving certificate. It was a brilliant idea, toasted over flames, gooey marshmallow thoughts. I'll be shipped off for the summer with my Hendrix poster and my maxi pad belt, waiting for action and volleyball. It wasn't my kind of place. Heavy on the sports, too light on the crafts. But all that disappeared on the day that someone captured my attention. Howie Greenberg. What did you see in me, Mr. Greenberg? You were twice my age. Tall, wiry, nerdy, kinky Jewish Brillo afro, stains on your moth-eaten sweater. Hello, it's summer. You were just in from Pittsburgh getting your PhD in engineering from Carnegie Mellon, while I was braiding lanyards and embroidering Bob Dylan on my turquoise thin whale corduroy jeans. button fly. You rode into my life on your mud-colored Raleigh 3-speed bike. You admired me from afar. You couldn't get too near, but we talked under big lush trees, solving equations. A weird summer. You wrote letters in a mathematician's scrawl. It's all erased from the board, but you came to visit me one fall on Palisade Avenue, and you gave me a book that I still have today, 42 years later. Pink cover, Fruits and Vegetables, Erica Jung. Star Matter. The sky was falling, that is, my ceiling was crumbling after the flood of 2015. The guys from the restoration company came to rip it apart. I couldn't listen to all the groans now exposed in the horsehair plaster and sheetrock. It's just a ceiling, they said. It can be fixed. But for me, it was the disrupted soul sleeping there for 200 years, now shaken down and carted away in garbage bins. Not a very romantic farewell. There were no curtain calls. It came at a time when the other sky was exploding in phosphorescence. Between you, me, and Fred the neighbor, it was an interplanetary matter. Rather small in nature. They called themselves the Meteoroids. No, they weren't an indie band or a disco revival dance company, but when all hot and bothered, they showed off their fluorescence while flirting with the Earth's atmosphere. I needed to see for myself, attain some perspective that I was only a speck against the darkness. I waited on my lawn chair, watching the coming attractions. There she was, a young woman in the sky, elongated, legs crossed, hands dangling, rib cage protruding. Connected by a million stars, I wondered where her heart was. Had it fallen from what we now know as just the ceiling? One star at a time, gone in an instant. Grand finale. When Mercury rolls in, not in a thermometer, but in a black stretch limo, love dreams curiosity. God of cunning and commerce, juggling his duties and all things rectal. I prefer it when he just plays the Roman deity of travel, putting on his strappy winged sandals and leading tours in Naples, umbrella in hand, Pellegrino in the other, visiting all his old friends at the Archaeological Museum. I haven't seen him for quite some time since we last chatted at the Trevi Fountain, eating gelato, and exchanging Roman puns. I miss his way with words. Recently I heard he was a bike messenger in New York, traded in his wings for Nikes. Now he delivers packages to his Greek equal Hermes. Just another expensive store on Madison Avenue. Or was that just a myth? Biter. Words scattered across the floor. None of them spoke my language. Miniature kitchen utensils, doll parts, princess costumes. Don't hit your sister. Definitely don't bite the daughter of your mother's boyfriend of the week. He was one of the original madmen, that weird girl who got her finger stuck in a small plastic circle of the seesaw seat. She was yelling and we cut her out with a kitchen knife. I was forced to be nice to her, but I didn't like her, and I finally bit her arm. She screamed. I felt so liberated. That was the end of that relationship. The next few boyfriends du jour didn't have kids my age. I would have bitten them too. Before Purell, clean wipes, vinegar sprays, hand sanitizers, oh, how I long for the days of dirt. Microbes and bacteria, when hazmats was just a tribe in the upper Andes. Give me a burnt hot dog on a fungus cover stick any day. But those days are over, all gone, wiped clean, bleached out of the world in the rinse cycle of the energy-efficient washing machine with the organic family-friendly soap. I wonder why the cleaning cycle is 4 times longer than a regular garden variety GE. Just saying. This is not a city for menopausal women, the ones recycling their wardrobes from the halcyon days, removing shoulder pads, changing their lipstick color as their knees creak and the discs in their backs have shifted. The days of flesh-colored pantyhose and suits when people returned phone calls and actually spoke. Is this progress? I am sad, disappointed. I am not of this place. I am a dinosaur on an 8-lane highway in Los Angeles, going in circles on a 4-leaf clover, no exits in sight. I guess I didn't follow through, pull it all together. Brand is just another word for bullshit. For nothing but propaganda, how to repackage crap. Who cares anyway? Memory is a thing of the past. Just Google it. Without memory, where is morality? Rain poem. My mother taught me to love rain and fog. It meant movies, books, under the covers, listening to the roar of thunder. She learned to love rain from her father, who owned a rainwear shop in New York in the 1920s. I guess the rain gene got passed down to me because I spent so many days with my grandpa in his store, sitting by the golden sphinx, Egyptian decoration, stylized flora and fauna, deco palm fronds with the word national scripted gracefully across the massive marble base of this shrine to commerce. Like the pyramids, it sat majestically above all else. My spirit god. Every day I came to work with my grandpa next to the Ed Sullivan Theater. There, in the long, narrow space, festooned with rainwear, galoshes, slippers, umbrellas, I saw them all. Charlie Chaplin, the crooners of the day, the Borschfelters, all looking for the latest in rubber protection. I sat by the National Register in my Mary Janes and puckered dress, watching the world go by. Grandpa said I was good for business. I entertained all the entertainers who came through the door. I can still hear that thunderous sound as my grandfather pulled the lever and the cash drawer flew open. Oh no. This morning I woke up as an aging rock star. In the mirror, my hair was a cross between Marie Antoinette and Roger Daltrey. It was dreadful, man. But I got into character and donned me best Cockney accent, poured myself into me black rubber pants like a cuppa, and squeezed me feet into me old leather boots like me Chinese grandmother centuries ago. As I tried to tease the knots from my locks, I had an epiphany that I could tour with me old blokes, some sort of revival tour. Not so much in the spiritual sense, but with a more sexual flavor, like strawberry lip gloss. And in me rainbow haze, I could swear I seen Jimmy knocking at me front door. Another day, he waited in the car, texting Alfredo about Berlusconi's exploits. While the three Graces went to view the bronzes, their torsos recently restored with nuns' tears. I've just about had it with this humidity. It's pushing 105 degrees. I heard her squawk as she was buying postcards, collecting memories of the ruins, while the original stood right down the cobbled path. Every snapshot so true to life. Buy so you'll have, I heard my grandmother say, while sitting on the rocks of the Temple of the Lost Souls, watching the blue geometry weave through the columns. In Agrigento, he bolted out of his newly restored Cinquecento to find the original San Marzano tomato paste the old ladies in black made it by hand. He wanted to bring some home to his foodie friend for a recipe she was trying from the Sunday New York Times magazine. If he came up short-handed, the relationship was over. He wanted it to last at least another month while his wife was out of town, collecting dung samples in Tanzania for the Museum of Natural History. Yes. It's easy to say no in my dreams. No, I can't drive you to Dunkin' Donuts. No, I can't take on this project. No, I can't turn on your computer or schlep your crap to yet another rent-controlled apartment. No, I'm leaving if you don't stop puffing on your American spirits in this cramped tackle box of an office. No, I can't drag your luggage to Rio while I'm hooked up to an IV. Are you kidding? No, I don't want a raise. No, really, I don't. But if you insist, I need to wake up before I say yes. Where is this? Just a poem. Wanted. Simple Italian man, perhaps a poet farmer, but he may be too tired at the end of the day to keep up with me. Not that I'm much to keep up with these days. Nevertheless, a Giancarlo Giannini type, mixed with some Totò and Fellini, a hint of Antonioni, must be married, have a wife, 5 kids, sales. Sculpted face optional, tan helps, no Speedo line apply. Cook, knows his octopus, well read, Ricci diver, has that medieval opener to get the meat of it all out and suck the roe, likes to cuddle, linguist, must speak at least 5 languages, they can be made up. Helpful if there's a villa overlooking the sea. Doesn't matter which sea, though Adriatic or Ionian are preferable. Did I mention a mosaic scholar? But remember, simple, that's the key. High in the Sierra Gorda biosphere of Mexico, I'm on some crazy serpentine road for 8 hours trying to find my way to the town of Jalitla. You know, the one with the X that nobody can pronounce. Not Oaxaca, but Jalitla, like Chipotle, but a place, not a smoky pepper. It's in the state of San Luis Potosi. We finally arrive in this non-gringo village and land in a wacky B&B with giant stone feet leading a path to a doorway. The Mexican surrealists stayed here when it was just a house, painting wild, fantastic murals of birds with insect heads in this humid jungle. I see you in the trees, green blisters, burns, scar tissue, open and bleeding to the sky. There's a weird sense of something here. It took a while to figure it out, and then, as my mother used to say, it dawned on me. There are no tourists, not one, except me and my 2 friends, insane enough to venture this way. What's here are drugs, lots of them, and they're smuggling them out to parts unknown. You're probably asking yourself, why am I here? And I tell you, no, it's not for the love of some Mexican man I met while throwing back shots of tequila, some artisanal tequila in a pop-up bar in San Miguel. And I'm not in search of some rare culinary delicacy like electric blue mushroom fungus that grows on corn, or even an ancient textile woven by Mexican nuns in the mountains. Really, it all comes down to concrete. Yes, you heard me, concrete. And that's a capital C to you. In this thick jungle setting, there once was a man named Sir Edward James. He came from eccentric British aristocracy, and he had a vision of creating his artist dream world, Las Posas, the pools, a surrealistic sculpture garden in a subtropical rainforest out of poured concrete forms. Magnificent whimsy, living alongside waterfalls and cacti, bamboo cathedrals, mythical pipe organs, stairways suspended in midair. He walked around all his imagination in a bathrobe and slippers, drinking in nature just for sheer joy and no particular agenda. She said she was better long distance, standing there in her signature white V-neck t-shirt from the Everything store on 207th Street under the L, old school puberty, a place trying to resemble Woolworth's, but not really. At that moment, I saw my sister, 5 years old, her blonde brown hair shining while we played with our new Easy Bake Oven, her sweetness so pure, unlike the toxic sugary bonbons we baked under a miniature light bulb. Now she's 55 years old, living on Horatio Street with a wolf range and a sub-zero fridge, a grown-up. She calls me her 55-year-old teenage daughter. I used to hate that, but now I couldn't care less. I actually kind of like it. In the kitchen, she wears her slippers, pink fluffy felt, which anchor her long thin legs. She wears the face of a dead relative, my father to be exact. As she says the words again, I am really better long distance, trying to convince me. But then it all makes sense, like when Einstein scribbled E equals on the chalkboard and MC came along for the ride. It all came together, 55 years of wondering about frozen silences, awkward teenage moments. There that morning, out of my sister's mouth, perfect replica of my dad's, sans mustache, I savored those words, each one a key to the mind code of 12 years of therapy. I came to visit and spend 2 full days with my sister before leaving on a 4-month adventure. As I sat in the other room quietly reading, I was sad that we weren't glued to one another, soaking up every moment before I had to say goodbye. But this was all too familiar in that strange, comforting way. I am no stranger to long silences, always being told, don't be so sensitive. How will you make it in this world? So after a few hours playing in our own worlds, I said to her, please don't get angry at me if I get teary before I leave. And that's when she said, we go long distances all the time. I'm better long distance. You're just in another country, that's all. That was all I needed as the lost treasure emerged, a Greek-keyed amphora, its lip gashed, a puzzle of shards lay on the sand, saying, we are not broken. The sign said, welcome to the sun also rises, the bedroom natural community, where clothing is optional and kids eat for free. We are here in this godforsaken place to see my first removed mother-in-laws. It's a long story that I won't go into, but they're now lesbians wintering in this bare trailer park, devoted to the pursuits of happiness in birthday suits, where we eat in a communal dining area like a sickly hospital high school cafeteria. The stench of waterlogged peas, hot dogs, and molten mashed potatoes congregate and bake into the gunmetal walls. I don't know about you, but I don't necessarily want to be around a cross-section of naked people while I'm eating. I try to summon the food gods, but they've all retired to Las Vegas, Sun Valley, Idaho, even Truth or Consequences, New Mexico, where all the great chefs go after they retire their blood-stained aprons and broken orange Crocs and hang out at the turquoise and orange melamine Thunderbird Cafe. A hop, skip, and a jump from Canyon de Chelly, where the Indian guide is 90 years old, runs up the canyons in bare feet with his trusted coyote, while we lag behind like a used daisy chain from an AK-47. And if that wasn't enough, I recall the moment of my communal dining experience in Loxahatchee, where I got a yen for a griddled blue corn tortilla, made by the dwarfin Navajo woman who appeared in our hogan to sell us a postage-sized stamp of a rug she weaved the night before. While stirring her prized rattle beans with her other hand, it was like a miniature replica of the Declaration of Independence you get on your elementary school trip to Philadelphia to get all historized. Back in the hogan, I couldn't find my socks, and I knew the Indian woman didn't walk off with them, as my mother used to say after drinking too much gin. I sometimes envisioned the Navajo woman in a marathon mahjong tournament with her lady friends on the reservation drinking moonshine and flaunting those rainbow socks, wearing her desert-soaked New Balance sneakers about 3 sizes too big, with her "I went to Gary's bar mitzvah" t-shirt, which she apparently got at a reservation swap shop, sticking her winnings tightly into her socks along with her Cherokee coarse-cut chewing tobacco. This is the town where they used to make bowling balls out of that murky plastic material they use for cheap cigarette lighters, that marbleized pattern, like the Jewish rye bread with seeds I'd buy on Dykeman Street in Washington Heights, while I watched the knotted man with the wrist-stained tattoo push the unexpected bread through the guillotine, slices falling in perfect formation from the metal gate like all the fallen before him. It was biblical, like your first lick of ice cream, the taste of a steaming kashikanish from Borough Park, the slathered buttered corn on the cob bursting with juice, or a slightly burnt crisp Nathan's Coney Island hot dog my grandfather religiously took me to eat, lifting me to the tower of mustard with a burnt tongue from an impatient bite, of the sweet groove French fries arisen from screamingly hot oil, poked with a tiny Neptune sword like the insignia The Sun Also Rises. A naked Neptune and mermaid with 3 crossed swords riding in a golf cart, the preferred mode of transportation at the nudist lifestyle camp. Home of sun and fun and copper-tone moments while the bufo toads lurk in the sea grape sexed up foliage with their myriad of multicolored poisonous warts, waiting to kill a small cat if the poison touches their fur. Like I have enough to worry about without some dumbass toad bothering me in this Cape Fear film set. I didn't need this extra bonus of these oozy, wart-outfitted creatures. I've had my fill of characters. Vinny, his gin-soaked genitalia hanging out to dry on the faux clothesline, dripping in gold chains and Italian horns he picked up in the plethora of pawn shops along one of those dense color-form highways, like Ali, Frazier, LaMotta. He wore an oversized white urine-soaked terry cloth robe, not as a cover-up, but more like a superhero Playboy Mansion, John Gotti, James Brown fashion. While Rick, and there is always a Rick in these natural communities, hailed from Minnesota, was a die-hard football fan of some team I don't know. He and his wife Gina came to Loxahatchee to winter to get the down coats off and sear their Midwestern skin. There were more antennas and satellite dishes on their trailer. I'm surprised they ever came out. But Gina graced us with the company that day on the fake green turf with a huge jug of something resembling wine and eating some pinwheel snack emblazoned on a Ritz cracker box. And all I could think about was ordering a pizza.
What a great thing. You know, and she came out, she came first.
Yes, I came out.
You came out.
It's Provincetown.
You're in Provincetown. But you know, I'm so used to your headgear and everything that it's just...
It's normal.
It's so, come on, anyone have any questions or any thoughts? Yes, Bill.
Julia, the poem about your sister, did you read it to her?
Yes, and she really liked it.
Good, good.
Yes.
It was very moving.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
We've opened pathway. I mean, sometimes what's interesting is, you know, it took writing the poem and reading it to her that then it opened up discussion, you know, rather than just sitting on a couch talking about something.
I have an answer to your Dwayne Reed question. So the drugstore, the original drugstore was on West Broadway between Dwayne and Reed.
Oh, right.
Okay,
Exactly.
can you repeat that, or do you want me to repeat it? Because we have people in the
Oh,
back.
okay, the Dwayne Reed answer is that the first Dwayne Reed store in New York was between Dwayne Street and Reed Street.
There you go. What, what's your writing journey like? I mean, do you write, how does that
I
look
would
like?
say, well, it looks like a lot of daydreaming, always thinking. I'm always, wherever I am, I'm thinking up things, I'm looking at things, it's like 24/7 going on in here. It's sometimes hard to shut off. But it's just always recycling, thinking, if some particular line really strikes me, I'll write it down and then I'll look at it later and that sort of thing. Yeah.
That's great.
What's the relationship between your writing and your painting? Do you do them separately, sometimes mix them? How does that work?
For the most part, I do them separately, but my line, so I feel like the lines that I use are going on this pathway, this adventure, and there's one thought and then it turns off into a corner and then there's a pause and then it goes somewhere else. And so it's sometimes like the thought of writing the poem is in my mind, but I'm actually drawing, and the line is sort of taking the place of the word. But then there are times where I use words in my work, my visual work, and so I feel like it's all kind of interrelated. It's all mashed up.
We saw a picture of your studio swept
Oh, the
and
clean
clean.
one, right.
And then you mentioned it doesn't look like that right now.
No.
And I'm just wondering what happens for you that makes these pictures different?
The clean picture and
The clean picture and then the one that's kind of an explosion, I guess.
Well, I'm someone that I think ever since I've been a kid, I'm someone that loves to kind of live in a chaotic environment, but then make order of it. So sometimes I get into a real cleaning mode, sweeping, organizing, and then when I'm sort of working, it gets very chaotic and hectic and stuff is all over the place. And so, I pull from different areas. And so right now that space is really, really chaotic. And but it's fine. It's fine for now. And then at one point, I want to take it all up and make order of it. And
Just wondered when you're making order, if your creative process is still moving along?
I think so.
And how would you describe the making order part of the process?
The making order part of the process, I think, is sort of the organizing the various layers of thought that are going on in my mind, or the layers of actual visual material, the juxtapositions, the interlocking of various elements. I think that's how it works.
So chaos at rest.
Chaos at rest.
The next one.
Right, for the next go round.
Have you always written poetry?
I've written poetry since I was very young. I mean, it was sort of a way for me to escape my family, and I spent a lot of time alone and quiet, and poetry was a really great escape for me. But it's only really, I would say, in the last 10 years or so, maybe less than that, that I've come out with it. Like I've actually been reading it and putting it out there to the public.
I really liked the piece about the sanitized world and longing for dirt, and then the connection with memory and morality. Like, that was really, it really packed a punch for me.
Oh, I'm glad, because I'm very distressed about the world that we're living in now with technology, and I know other people are too, but I just feel like, I was thinking about how there's a whole generation that doesn't really need to have memory anymore, because it's just, they can just, say something or type something in, and the answers come, the information comes. And for me, one of the greatest feelings in the world as a kid and young adult and now was going to the library and researching and looking at books and trying to find information and putting it all together and working for it, uncovering. So yeah,
Process.
yeah.
I love the political comment you made with the poem about the kindergarten. So funny.
Yeah, that was
Really great.
Yeah, I think we can all relate to that now, big time. Yeah.
Oh, Julia, let's give another big hand. And remember, September 13th, Hildy Olson, poet, and droning artist David Cox. They're going to come together and do that together. Julia, you're the greatest.
Oh, thank you.
You're the greatest.